Hey guys, so everyone on YouTube will have you believe that physical media is dying, but I can guarantee you it's not dying, at least not while I'm collecting it, it's not dying. But this is the thing, physical media is becoming more of a niche market. It is going to get more collectible like vinyl collectors are, or vinyls went a bit more mainstream now, but like CD collectors, people are still collecting CDs whether you believe that or not. CDs are still coming out. It will become a more niche market that people will pick and choose what they want. And yes, while studios may back away from Blu-ray, I mean, we've seen Disney announce that they're doing a deal with Sony, where Sony are going to release all of their movies. There is a potential to have a lot more movies come out through distribution companies like an Arrow Video or like Scream Factory. Is it still called Scream Factory, or is it being renamed something, Shout Factory, or whatever it's called now? Yeah. So there's a potential to still get out Blu-ray releases. It's just going to become more niche. And this is the thing, every time a YouTuber says, physical media is dying, and they go, that's the thumbnail. It's just like, every time they do that, it's like, no, physical media is not dying. Yes, stores are backing away from it. I know in America, Walmart have announced they're sort of backing away from it. But it is not dying. It's becoming more niche again. It's becoming more of a collector thing. Back in the day, Laserdisc, VHS was the mainstream. Everyone went towards VHS. So consider this, like if we were in the 80s or 90s now, VHS would be the mainstream. That would be like almost equivalent to streaming. Everyone's going towards that route. And then you had Laserdisc on the side, which was a bit more niche. It was a bit more high-end. It was a bit more the collector market. It's the collectors who wanted it, and it's people who wanted the bit rates and wanted the higher quality. They would go towards Laserdisc. And we're going back to that format. Everyone's going streaming. We all know everyone's going streaming. We know it's the future. We understand it's all in the cloud. We know we can have every movie imaginable. And we know the Jolly Roger exists as well. We do hear you in the comments of every video. We know the Jolly Roger exists. We know we can have 15 different hard drives full of movies. We get it. But physical media is going back to a niche of collectors and people who want to own the movie physically and have a physical representation of a movie they like. On a hard drive doesn't give you a physical representation other than a physical cold hard drive that you've got to spin up every time. I mean, this is the thing, like I don't really collect because I just want every movie and I want to essentially replace streaming. I mean, replacing streaming is pretty cool though, you gotta admit. The fact that I don't need a Netflix or anything and I can just watch my favorite movies, that's pretty freaking cool. But the idea that I collect this because I love it, because I want to have physical representation of movies that I actually want to watch. If I want to watch, I'm going to find a niche title for you because I'm always like recommending niche titles that everyone hasn't seen. Let's see, what do we have here? I'll take too long, but I'll keep browsing, but I'll keep talking. So yeah, when I talk about physical media, I collect because I love to collect physical media. I love to pull something off the shelf, like a Gladiator or like a Escape from New York, which everyone's probably seen at this point, so that's not a good one. Oh, here we go. Here's one that may be a bit harder to find on digital. Duel, Steven Spielberg. I watched this a long time ago. I haven't watched the 4K copy to see the remaster, but I watched this a very long time ago when I was studying film, and it's actually a really good film. It's about a truck driver on a road. It's basically the cars are the star of the movie, essentially. But I watched this ages ago, like probably a decade or 2 decades, or no, not 2 decades, I'm not that old, but like a decade and a half or something. I've watched this a very long time ago when I was studying film. So, yes, Duel is a really good one. I'm always like, where did I get that from? There we go. Do the Right Thing, another good movie right next to it. There we go. Do the Right Thing is also Spike Lee joint. Really good movie as well. But the thing about it is that I collect it because it's a physical representation of what I love. And I love collecting. I love to have access to movies I love. And yes, I don't like the sensation of just having a hard drive and you will own nothing. I don't like the mentality of you will own nothing. And the streaming age has basically said you will own nothing. So when we get to movies like Dawn of the Dead, which some of my followers in my You Can't Find These on Streaming video have said, this is apparently available on like Amazon or something. But is it available on Amazon? Do you get the 3 or 4 different cuts that are available in this box set? Do you get, when you buy the Amazon version, do you get the Argento cut? Do you get that as well? Like, this is what I mean. Like, yes, you can get digital, and I'm sure some of these titles are available on digital. I probably made a mistake in my earlier video, and I apologize if I made a mistake on that earlier video. As I said in a previous video, apparently 28 Days Later is available on some streaming options. I think it is available on Disney. I don't have a Disney subscription, but I did Google it and I looked into the catalogue of Disney. And I found that 28 Days Later is in the catalogue within Australia at least. But you know, other parts of the world don't have access to that movie at the moment. But this is why physical media is so important. Because we never know what a studio is going to do. We never know when the licensing deal is going to expire. We never know when the cuts are going to be changed. Terminator 2, for example, where is Terminator 2? Let's pull out Terminator 2, if I can get it out. It's very, very tightly packed, because I pack these things tight because I like to fit as many as I can on the shelf. What happens when a studio like, or even a director like Cameron, decides this is the cut you're going to watch from now on, and you're not going to have any access to any older versions through digital means? What happens if you don't like the color changes? What happens if you're like, oh, I actually preferred having the not cleaned to death picture, and I actually like the bright orange and yellows of this Californian sunset? Well, that's where Blu-ray comes in. If I don't want to watch this version, the one where Cameron kind of ruined Terminator, I can watch this version, the older version that he put out, that is actually better than the 4K version in my opinion, because it does retain a lot of the original shots. And yes, people will say, oh, but that version, the Skynet edition, is problematic as well, and I should get the Lionsgate or whatever. And I know the Lionsgate one is out there, but it means I'd have to import it for like $70, and I'm not that desperate for Terminator. I mean, if I come past it one day, maybe, but I'm happy with this Skynet edition, to be honest. But this is the thing. What happens if a director changes every cut of it? I saw recently that True Lies is coming out, or it's already out. I'm picking it up really soon. I'm going to buy a copy of it, and I'll do a review of it. But I saw that apparently Cameron has DNR'd it to death as well, and he's done some really weird changes. As I said, I'm not going to judge a movie until I've seen it with my own eyes and watched it. But this is the thing. I will buy a movie. I will give it benefit of the doubt. And also, if it's this is the thing. When people ask, oh, well, if you hate the movie, if you don't like what he's done, why do you buy it? Special features. There's stuff on the DVD version. I'll watch the movie on the DVD, but there's special features where Cameron will talk about 20 years or 30, whatever, however long since True Lies came out. He will do special features. There'll be unique special features to the 4K. There'll be unique special features to the Blu-ray. And that's why I buy stuff like that. So yeah, I don't like the Terminator 2 on 4K. I think that is a problematic trend. And obviously, look, I had some faith after Cameron put out Titanic. I had some faith after he put out Titanic, and this was a really good transfer. There was DNR done to this movie. There was DNR. But the way it was done was in a way where it doesn't really feel too intrusive. It doesn't really hurt what was there to begin with. It actually benefits the movie. However, I'm sure I keep a copy of Titanic on Blu-ray here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it is. But just in case I want to go back and experience it the way an older version of it. And you have to think, Cameron made alterations to that movie even in 2012. So I also got DVDs of Titanic somewhere that if I want to watch the original cut with the original Sky when Kate Winslet, Rose is looking up, singing Hey Josephine, come on my flying machine or whatever, when she's on the big floating door that apparently Jack couldn't fit on. That'll stir some people up. But yes, I have the original cut of Titanic because it's on DVD and Cameron changed it for the 2012 Blu-ray release. So I've got the original cut on DVD. And this is another reason to keep physical media, because you can choose which cut you want to watch. If you want to watch the pre-4K version, the Blu-ray's out there, you can watch that version. If you don't watch something prior to that, if you didn't like the changes he made with that, maybe the 3D hurt a bit, it threw a bit of the the look of the movie was a bit off because of the 3D. And when I got that, I did run that through the 3D version. I ran through Make MKV and made a 2D version of the 3D movie. So I had the open map version or whatever it was, and that was really cool to watch. I watched that for about a decade. But that's the only reason I see to watch something off a hard drive, if it's something that is pretty cool. But yeah, more Titanic frame was cool, but obviously it's not the way the movie was intended. So I'm more about keep the original cut, keep the cuts, different variety. I'm all for that. But yes, that's the physical media collectors don't tell you this sort of stuff. They want you to believe that it's a cool thing to do and you should get into collecting, and it is cool to collect. And yes, while it is true, I am a big advocate for collect what you love. But you don't have to run out and try to collect a collection like mine. You don't need to try to be films at home. If you're a gamer, you don't need to be Last Gamer. You don't need to have a film like a big haul like that guy. He's been collecting since probably the 80s or 70s. So, you know, collect what you love. And be aware that it takes space, it will cost money, and try to understand what you're getting into before that call is made. Because so often we hear stuff like, oh, I bought Columbia Classics. It was so expensive. Well, yes, it's going to be very expensive. But if you love it, it's a small cost in the overall scheme of things. It all depends what you're happy with spending on something. If you've dropped the money for it, as long as it doesn't become a spending problem, then as long as you have some level of control over paying your bills first, paying all your expenses, making sure you have a little bit of savings left over for an emergency, then create a side fund. Create a side fund that is Blu-ray. Don't guilt trip yourself. I don't know what's going on with my words today. Don't guilt trip yourself when you go into that fund that you've created just for Blu-rays. If you need to take some out of there, take some money out of it for something else. If you need to buy food, take some money out of it to buy food. Like, there is no shame in going into your fund that you've set aside for Blu-rays, or creating a fund aside for Blu-rays. That there's no guilt in that. But just make sure that you have all your expenses covered first. That you have your food expenses, you have your rent expenses, you have your water expenses, you have every other expense covered. And then from there say, okay, I've got about an extra I have about an extra $50 or $100 left over. I might buy a movie. I might go to JB Hi-Fi. I might go to Walmart. I might go, if Walmart still do movies, I might go to Best Buy in America, because I know I have a lot of American viewers watching this. This is the great thing about analytics. I can see where the audience is. There are a lot in Australia, but there are also a lot in America watching me. So yes, Best Buy or Costco. I'm sure Costco maybe do them. But, you know, you have the opportunity to build your collection to your tastes and the way you want to watch movies. You don't like Terminator? Great. Don't buy that Terminator. Go back and find a second-hand copy or a brand new copy off eBay or something of the original one, you know? Or not the original one, the second Terminator 2, but like the original Blu-ray, or like try to track down that legendary Lionsgate release that came out in 2015, even though it's in a lot of collectors' collections, and you may not get a copy of that for very cheap. Which is what I said, I'm happy with the Skynet edition. I mean, for all the trade-offs I get, it's cheap. And I can find that very easily. I can watch it, and I'm happy with that copy. But this is the thing. We get so worked up as collectors, especially with each other, like, we see someone's collection and say, oh my god, that is massive, I need to have a collection like that. We try to imitate. I mean, imitation is the most sincere form of flattery. Like, I think that's an older quote, but you know, it is. We try to imitate each other. We try to be like, oh, he has 3,000 movies, I'm going to have 3,001. It's like, stop competing. Just think, okay, if you have 10 of these movies, if you have 10 Blu-rays, if you just have this much here, if you have that much, does it mean a lot to you? Are they your, 20 odd favorite movies? Are they your 20 favorite movies? Are they your favorites? Do you have your favorites in that collection? Do you have what matters to you? Then great. Your collection means just as much as my collection, you know? It's all about sentimental value. And obviously, the value in your wallet as well, depending what you're paying. But if you have sentimental value towards certain movies, collect because you want to have them in your collection. Not because, and I'm speaking to you right now down the lens, because I know I've been looking off at the screen, because I'm filming this on the front camera. So yeah, I'll talk to you right there now. Buy because you want to have them in your collection, not to compete with others. So let me say that again, because I looked away. Collect because you want to collect, not because you want to compete with others. Yes, my collection is cool. Jeff from Films at Home's collection is cool. And so many other collectors on here, all their collections are cool. But you need to cater it to your own experience. Just because I have so many movies doesn't mean you need to have as many movies as me. As long as you have, like, if you have a 50 strong collection, 50 of them, 50 Blu-rays, as long as those 50 mean something to you and you're going to watch those endlessly and you love those movies and you enjoy the experience of collecting, that means just as much as my collection to you. And you should really stop thinking about, that is an amazing collection, I need to have as many as that. I mean, yes, competition is great, but don't do it to compete. And I'm going to end it there because I don't know what else to say other than, what do the YouTubers always say? Like, subscribe, comment, I don't know, write a letter, post it, I don't know. Whatever YouTubers tell you to do, just do to my channel, I don't know. I'm sick, I don't like how the YouTubers sign off these videos. As I've said in a couple of videos now, I feel like we can do so much better with a sign off. You know, I think Ryan George with his videos, he does something like, oh yeah, you know, there's the button, blah, something, whatever. Like, just do it, just have fun with the sign off. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next one if you're still watching, but yeah, might lose some of the viewers, might not, who knows, might gain some, who knows. As long as you're having fun, as long as we're all talking about movies, we all love movies. Yeah, catch you in the next one. Peace out.